Hi, Julia. Hope you're okay.
Hi, Cherry. Hi, Julia. Hi, Julie.
Hope you all had a lovely long weekend. Oh. I'll just wait a little bit longer to see if anyone joins.
Hi, Alex.
Okay, well, we're at 2 minutes past, so I'll get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our August webinar. We're doing a little bit of a different webinar this month, hence the change of name to Talk to Us Tuesday. Because we really want to hear from you. So from this webinar, you will hear from a customer on their implementation journey, and then we'll also share with you some other customer examples and the different techniques that they've used to ensure high platform adoption, followed by some time at the end to hear feedback from you, providing us a chance to hear how else we can support you. So please, when it comes to this section, don't be shy, as your feedback is really invaluable to us, and is essentially what drives us to change and improve our service. And so now I'd like to introduce you to Julia from Brighton Hove and Sussex Sixth Form College, who's kindly offered to share with us their implementation journey and time with us so far. So I will stop sharing and hand over the mic to Julia.
Hi, Emma. Can you hear me?
Hi, Julia. Yeah, we can.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to share my PowerPoint presentation. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, sounds good.
Right. Let me see if I can do that. Come out of that view. Okay. Okay, right. So share screen. I'm just trying to do that now.
Yeah.
We'll go for that one. You should see a PowerPoint that I'm
yes,
just
we
going to put
can.
into. Oh, thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, that's perfect.
Good start. Right. Okay. So thanks for inviting me to present. It's lovely to be here. As you say, I'm from BASVIC. My name's Julia and I'm the learning technologist. We've had a relationship with yourselves and with the MyDay app since about this time last summer, that was the first time I heard of MyDay. By late December, I was project managing our proof of concept trial. As you've said, we're a sixth form college. We're down in Brighton and Hove, and we've got about 3,500 students on roll, and maybe about 300 plus staff. So about 200 plus of those would be teaching staff. We actually managed to soft launch to our then first years before the end of the summer term. And we're launching to our new students today as enrolment has started here today. So we went for the name MyBASVIC for our student app. It's a fairly obvious choice, I think, but it says what we need it to. It's very much a student app. So we don't at this stage have a staff dashboard, because we're very new to the product. We have our one dashboard, and we wanted to solve a couple of major problems, which were to do with students finding and navigating and signing into the various platforms that we use, and then to improve our communications with students, which we hope to do by using the app, as students aren't hugely fond of checking their email, and we really like the idea of targeting our communications a bit better via the app to our students, making the communications that they see more relevant to them. So the stats are, the schools on the doors when I checked in mid-August were quite pleasing. So we'd had a huge amount of downloads from the App Store to our year ones, which are now year twos or A2s. We have this terminology here: A1s are year 12s, A2s are year 13s. So I may mix it up. I'm sorry if that's confusing. I'm trying not to be confusing. So they were our year 12s, our A1s when we launched to them. And then I checked in the middle of the summer and we'd had over 1,000 downloads from the App Store, and a much lower proportion of active devices from Google Play, which I think shows more how Apple have cornered the market with 16 to 18-year-olds than very much else, really. But we're very pleased with those stats. We're only missing a couple of hundred to have hit the entire year group. So we approached the trial as a proof of concept process. We identified 9 or 10 essential tiles that we would want to have. And then we set about making those work, which was reasonably straightforward, with a lot of help from yourselves, your fantastic support team, and the dev team, actually, as we needed the Heritage connector to be changed and updated to work with Heritage, which is a library system that we had moved to their cloud service. So that actually was resolved after launch. We also had an issue with our Moodle usernames not being uniform, but we were helped to get around that as well. And that's now updating automatically in a table in your platform. So these technical solutions, while they may seem daunting to start with, they're actually, you will overcome them. Don't be put off, this would be my message. So we focus grouped a couple of dashboards for appearance, once with some students, and once we'd settled on a colour scheme, we trialled the dashboard with several classes and tutor groups. I drummed up a bit of volunteer support from staff to trial with certain classes, and which they did. We had some really helpful feedback, which we were able to act upon, and it's actually really helpful to be in the room when students are using the product, because they spot things that you wouldn't necessarily spot, and so that's actually really invaluable. So when we launched at the end of the year, we promoted the app and web portal to staff to raise awareness among staff and encourage them to take a look, perhaps, on the portal. But once we had the app, we really wanted to launch to students. So we went ahead and did that before the end of term through a poster campaign around campus, and by having the launch of the app, actually, students were asked to download the app and install the app during their tutorial sessions. So that might be a bit easier to do in a sixth form college than perhaps in a university setting, because we have quite high access to our students and can get them to do things like that. This messaging to actually get the app has been reinforced through our senior leadership teams messaging to our students regarding enrolling for the second year. It's actually been added into one of the things that they're encouraged to do. So when it comes to our new students, obviously they're very keen when they're enrolling. So it's a good time to promote to them and launch to them. We started the awareness raising with a mention of My Basvic app to new parents. It's also been in a parents newsletter on our website. It's also promoted, or at least the students would have seen it on our Moodle site, which they use for their Starting with Confidence work, which they do before they come to enrol. Today, on our first enrolment day, we have posters up around college, we have big pop-up banner stands around campus strategically placed, and my BASVIC instructions about the app are included in a leaflet that the students are given after the enrolment interview, the new BASVIC student guide, what happens after enrolment. So it's also actually, I haven't put it on here, but it's part of their digital induction course, which they do between now and when their timetable lessons start. So it's actually part of their IT induction to college as well. So that's also included in their new student guide directions, so they should see that too. And it's been quite brief. If there are any questions or anything I haven't covered that you would like to ask me about, then I'm happy to respond.
Oh, great. Thank you, Julia. If anyone does have any questions, please do put them in the chat. Really great tips there that I hadn't thought about myself, such as promoting on your VLE. That's a really strong one. Yeah.
I've got a question. Hi there, it's Phil.
Hi, Phil.
Hiya. How have the students at the college responded to seeing that the college has an app, and is it something that they expected, that you must have an app, or were they pleasantly surprised, or do they are they going to help you drive to the next iterations of this app as you go forward with it?
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. So when we started focus grouping it, the students are quite young, so some of them aren't, you know, it can be a bit awkward. But if we were actually getting some really positive feedback written, I think they'd often prefer to write it and submit it we use Microsoft Forms. Really positive feedback. Initially, they were just using the web portal, and a lot of the feedback just said, I can see how this would be really useful, but it should be an app. So obviously we were going to make it an app. So clearly they did expect and want an app. And then when we started promoting it to the mass of students, they seemed, you know, pretty pleased actually. And I asked some tutors who were going through the tutorial, you know, program when it was actually in there for that week and the next week, about the student reactions, because I'm not normally in the room. And they were saying, oh God, yeah, they just went and did it. They downloaded it before I even got to that page in the, you know, PowerPoint. They'd already installed it and were using it. And so, yes, it has, I don't think there was an expectation before they came here that they should have an app, but we felt that was a gap in our offering, and they seem pretty keen on having an app. As to the next iteration, I realise I haven't covered that in the PowerPoint. That's partly because of a technical disaster I had this end. So I just made this morning. But yes, we would like to involve the students in what should be in the app. And I am planning to canvass them about that probably after half term to get some feedback about the app. It's one of the things that we'd like to ask them about and see if they have any constructive comments or suggestions and that they can give us. And that will be after they've also experienced the messaging going out through the newsroom. We're going to use the newsroom a lot of news feeds. So that should be quite interesting.
If you get loads of sort of, if you like, feature requests from your students, have you got a framework or something you plan on using to take out the most, you know, useful looking ones that you see and then build that into a roadmap? Or you got any suggestions for everyone on the webinar, how you would deal with it maybe?
Do you know what, Phil? I'm going to turn that around. I'd be open to suggestions for the best way to approach that, because I know there'll be people perhaps who will hear this at some point who are ahead of us, and I'd like to know how they've done that and how they've incorporated those suggestions into a roadmap, because I'm quite new to this.
Okay. Emma, I wonder if there's anyone on the webinar who can give us some advice on here.
Yeah, if anyone is willing to share their tips, let us know in the chat and we can unmute you. Or just pop it in the chat if you don't want to be unmuted, and we'll share them with everyone else. Oh, chat is disabled. seen in the Q&A. I don't know, Rachel, is that something you can fix? Thank you, Cherry, for letting us know that.
While we're just sorting that out, when I've been working with colleges and universities, I've seen the impact of an app when it's first launched, that real good success, that a lot of momentum behind just having the new app. It's quite an exciting thing to get everything in one place. And you guys at colleges and universities have got a really difficult task of keeping that momentum going by building in new features, new things that will solve or continue to solve the problems that your students see in a day in, day out basis at FE or HE. Once your students understand that their voice is heard, then you can get inundated. So managing those and building it into your own roadmap at college or university, I know it's definitely a challenge, but very fruitful when you start to put items on the roadmap which can be scaled up and can be seen to keep solving more and more volumes of problems for your students. I think one of our other customers can now chat. I wonder, Rachel, can you unmute? I think it's Cherry.
Hello.
Hi,
Cherry.
Hi. I was just pointing out we can now use the chat, but I suppose on the subject of iteration, I mean, we do that naturally because of the way that we work in a Scrum Agile way, but we have found, although we make sort of small updates and improvements pretty much constantly, actually we're a university and we work in a 2-semester structure. So we try to focus our releases around of big impacting features around the start of term and the start of the second semester, which is February. So we do a lot of work sort of in the intervening periods, trying to engage with students, getting their feedback, which we do through surveys, speaking to them directly, etc. We speak to our stakeholders, what's going on around the university, what is happening that might impact us, what services are being released that we might want to provide an access point to in our app, and sort of try and line them up so that even if we're not doing a big bang release of lots of stuff at the same time, at least they'll be available to students when they sort of have a bigger uptake around those times at the start of term. I don't know even if that directly answers your question.
Thanks, Cherry. That's really helpful. That's kind of the way things tend to work here as well. Is you might tinker with things, but you don't make any big changes until you get to the big summer holiday, and then it's all new when students come back for the start of the new academic year. So I can see that we might be making some small changes, but not making any massive changes until we get to the summer. And from our point of view, we can work over the summer holiday to prepare things, which perhaps might feed into the whole idea of making a big change at the start of the year.
I mean, obviously there are operational risks to releasing lots of big impacting services at once, but what we tend to do is sort of just do them kind of one after the other, I suppose. So at the moment we've got, I think, a couple of weeks until our welcome week kicks off, so we've got a few different features, I suppose. We're releasing, one in a couple of days, one the week after, one a few days after that, so they've got a settling in period, and we can say, right, if that went okay, we'll do the next one, and if that went okay, we'll do the next one.
Yeah, definitely a good idea. I mean, we were thinking, I did hear talk that what we might want to do is another student dashboard, which would be focused entirely on mental health and well-being and student services and pastoral and guidance side of things. So that's a possibility. Whether that will be over next year, I don't yet know. So yeah, that's TBC.
You had a question, I think, Cherry, there for Julia as well about how do you sort of recruit those students? And I've seen at different universities and colleges enticing students in to give feedback based on getting a free slice of pizza, vouchers to go to the refectory. I don't know. I've heard of all sorts of different things. Is there any other ones that you've been thinking of, Julia, at your colleges?
Well, when we focus grouped, we did use biscuits, and I think miniature heroes may have featured. They were very popular. So yeah, I think the food aspect of reward for students is a really good approach. It tends to work. But I think we'd probably ask the students through the tutorial programme to volunteer. I imagine that would be the way, because that's the way we normally, if we want to get a message out to all students face to face, that's how we would do it. So that might be the way forward to get volunteers as well.
And are you pushing the portal as well, the desktop portal, or is that kind of just sat there for later coverage and your main primary focus is the app, or is there a balance?
I hope there's a balance. We're promoting the app to students, but we're also making them aware that there is a web portal. You know, don't have the app, don't have a smartphone, don't, you know, if you don't want it, you just, you know, there's a web portal, you can look there, that's fine, it's perfectly acceptable. And for staff, we're making them aware that there's an app, but actually promoting more the web portal to them. Partly because they're in front of a computer the whole time, partly because they might not want another app on their phone, partly because there's some cybersecurity issues around the use of data on personal devices. There's all that kind of issue that we're actually bumping into now, and we've got to sort of navigate over the next year. But yeah, so the web portal much more for staff, and as a way to see what your students are seeing, you know, check that they can see that such and such is available. Why don't you have a look yourself? That kind of thing.
Seems to be the right way to do it, definitely. I think those are some of the questions that were asked before. So thanks, Stu. That's really helpful. It's great to get an idea, isn't it, Emma, of what our customers are doing once they've got the app, and there's lots of similarities and differences that are great to discuss.
Yeah, there's so many different ways to do it. So hearing from our customers, definitely great. Thank you so much for sharing, Julia and Cherry, as well. I'll share my screen again. So we have some of our own ideas and top tips for high app adoption. So I'll quickly run through them, but some of them you already mentioned and covered. So promotional events could include things like scavenger and treasure hunts to help with on-campus orientation. We had one customer run a 12 days of Christmas last year. So it drove traffic to the platform each day, and it was kind of highlighted in the banner where they needed to go on campus. So just little events like that can really help drive the traffic. Different Welcome Week, Freshers Week activities. One customer really stands by pop-up stands for Q&As with games and prizes on offer. Again, that incentive, the prize. Digital signage around campus. We really recommend making your My Day portal the default screen when logging on to an institution device, just so it's the first thing they see. And again, we have many customers who use this. The opposite of digital signage, notice boards, so just more paper. Promotional materials, many different types, leaflets, merchandise, banners, freebies. Everyone loves a freebie, so you can brand a pen to whatever your My Day platform is, such as My Basvic. Student focus groups, as already mentioned, so we just get your students together, hear what's working well for them and what they don't like so much, to really ensure the best for future students, and just so you're constantly improving your app and changing it, keeping it updated. Surveys, yeah, to get your feedback. Obviously, surveys, it can be difficult to get students to respond now. And then different types of online promotion could include blogs or social media posts. So posts on your Instagram, Facebook, even making TikToks to promote app downloads. We have a promotional video here that the University of Huddersfield put together, so I'll play that now and hope it. Oh, got the advert. Just wait.
In a presentation. Look, if you're responsible for driving news.
Welcome to the University of Huddersfield. As a current student, you have access to MyHud, your personalised student portal, the online home where you can access all the essential services and personalised information that you'll need. You can access MyHud through the website, or brand new for this year, all students can now download the MyHud app. All the features of MyHud conveniently now on your phone. Download from the App Store today. Simply search for MyHud. No need to remember multiple passwords, just log into MyHud once. On the homepage, you'll find quick access to everything you'll use regularly, including Brightspace, library and summons, your timetable, email, as well as your attendance and print credit. You'll also be able to see any important announcements from across the university. International and postgraduate research students will see some differences to their homepages, as you have information specifically for you. On this menu bar, you'll find quick links, chosen by students. Here you'll have instant access to your personal details, contacts, Brightspace, and library information. Exploring further, MyStudies have useful tools and resources to help you stay organised, whether you're working on campus or from home, including your results, direct access to Brightspace, and UniDesktop, your virtual campus PC. My school. On this page, you'll find the latest news and events from your school, as well as placement information if it's relevant to you. The People section gives you useful details of contacts within your school, including your personal tutor and academic rep. You can also keep up to date with your school's social media accounts. My support. This is where you'll find all of the support from the university services, including wellbeing, iPoint and Good Help, a self-service system to track your library and IT inquiries, and also find useful FAQs. Other highlights include information from the SU, find out about sports, clubs and societies you can join, their activities and events, and access the SU Advice Centre, where you can get independent advice should you need it. My Uni Life on Campus is packed with information about facilities and services on campus, including a new and improved campus map, events across the university, information on accommodation, and the food outlets on campus. You'll also find information on jobs and careers, useful if you're looking for part-time work during your studies. And it's never too early to start thinking about what to do after you graduate. The Graduation and Beyond section has information on postgraduate courses, alumni, and jobs and careers. If you're an international student, you'll have an extra section on your homepage called International. This page has information on your visa requirements and your fees, as well as who to contact in the international office if you have a question. If you're a postgraduate researcher, you will also see some differences on your account, including the My Research section. This is where you can submit your thesis through Brightspace. Or if you're a new researcher, you can see what support is available to you in the New Researcher section. MyHud is your personalised portal where you can access everything you'll need during your time at university, without the need to log into systems multiple times. For more information, the help section has further how-to guides and helpful videos for you to access whenever you want. Thanks for watching.
Great. Oh, that didn't want to close. I'll start sharing this again. So there's just an idea of the kind of video that you can put on any public-facing pages for all to watch and to really understand the app. Because again, it's a new system that they're going into when they start university. So little online tours and promotion videos like this can really help support students get used to the app and again, increase downloads. Okay, so now it's the exciting part of the webinar where we really want to hear from you. So I'll kind of start this off by, we would love some feedback on the webinars themselves. Any suggestions on frequency and time of day that it's most appropriate to run these webinars, because we obviously want to fit to your schedules. Just put it in the chat or we can unmute you so you can share your thoughts with everyone.
I guess some of the things we were thinking of were, AM and PM slots, does it make sense that we repeat a webinar so that if people have more availability in the morning, then there's the live event, and then in the afternoon there is also the event. It's a particular day a week which is just a no-go for a lot of customers. You know, we want to make sure we work around that. We've always tried the cadence of monthly as well, because we try and align with your academic diary. So of course you'll have different things in your diary through colleges and universities, but there's also a lot of similarities. We do try and make the topics, you know, current and in line with those, but there's some things coming in now on the chat, isn't there?
Yeah, so this kind of day, afternoon seems to be the best. I definitely prefer it in the afternoon. So that makes me very happy. Yeah, if they're recorded, then much of a muchness, as Cherry said.
And Julia says, Julia says that she can look back on recordings and finds that works. I know sometimes it's quite hard to carve out that time, isn't it, to be able to go back and watch something. I think we're going to talk about the hub a little bit in a while, but that's where we stick these recordings, where there is somewhere for you to place comments and ask further questions on those as well. But it's looking like this time kind of works for most people.
Yeah. What is everyone's thoughts on frequency? Do you enjoy the monthly ones? Would you like them more regularly or less regularly?
I think while we're waiting for any responses, we can ask monthly. We can ask how often do these problems change in your academic diary and need a supplier like us to put on a show to help you get through certain problems and positively impact you. Monthly, it seems to be okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fab. Well, as always, please do put any suggestions, even for topics, on the Customer Hub. We've had a few suggestions, which is great, which we'll use for our next webinar, but please keep them coming. Avoid Mondays. Yeah, that's fine, as that's obviously what we've previously done, but we can move them to Tuesdays as
Thanks,
today.
Julie.
Yeah, that's really great feedback. Thank you. And now I'll move on to the next topic, which was our user group. So our next one's in November. But if you do have any feedback on what you liked about the previous one and would like to see more of, or anything to avoid that you didn't find as beneficial in the previous user group, then please do share that with us, as the user group is really for you as the customers. So we'd be keen to hear any feedback on that, just so we can make the next one as relevant and worthwhile for you as possible.
So of those two links we've posted, that first link will take you to the hub where you can recommend or suggest topics for the webinars. And then also the second link takes you to the online diary, so you get some information about this user group in November. You can also register for that as well.
I can see Cherry has raised her hand, so I'll just unmute you. You should be able to unmute now. There we go.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I just wanted to say the presentations at the last user group were obviously really good, but I also found it really valuable to have time to talk to the other attendees. We all got our phones out and we're looking at the app stores at each other's apps and stuff like that and showing them to each other. And that was really, really valuable, and sort of good networking opportunity and good idea sharing opportunity. But we only really had opportunity to do that in, I think there was a window where we had a break in the morning, lunchtime, and then I couldn't stay afterwards because I had booked a train for a specific time. So actually having a period for that specific purpose baked into the day would be really helpful, I think, sort of like a networking hour or something. Yeah, because I found that really helpful.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for the feedback. It's definitely, I know we're looking at planning our user group and getting a first plan in place in the next couple of days. So we'll definitely take that into account. I really love the networking sessions as well. So yeah, I would love to block out some time for that. Does anyone else have, oh, sorry.
I think we're also, the feedback I was getting off a lot of customers, I think Terry, you were one of them as well, is seeing dashboards being shown on the big screen, and how you can publish very different looking iterations of My Day for different reasons, including following branding guidelines at different colleges and universities, and just following certain principles and values that those institutions need to push out through all the technologies that they use for students. Really interesting to see all that kind of stuff. And I think, you know, we're looking at being able to create more time for that to happen. Is that what everyone else is interested in this forum as well? Seeing the art of the possible of our customers.
Yes, Julia's agreed. I'm definitely enjoying taking time out of the webinars to hear from our customers. I really love it. Great. Well, any other feedback on the user group or webinars, please keep it coming in the chat, or we will continue the conversation on the Customer Hub. And now that leads on to the next point of the Customer Hub, when obviously it's a new thing that we've launched, and we're really trying to promote it in all areas to be the central hub for all your communication. So we just have a poll that we want to run to gain some feedback on the Customer Hub and the awareness of it, so we can get an idea of whether we need to promote it a little bit more or if it's going well. Okay, great. Well, it looks like most people on this webinar are actively using it, which we love to hear. So yeah, all we can do is promote that a little bit more, and we will be continuing to promote it and looking at putting all our other systems on the Customer Hub, so it can be that central place for you to go, so you don't have to keep going to different areas to raise a request or find out some information. It can all be on the hub for you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the things that we're doing in support for our customers as well is answering the task we've been asked. How can we make sure that when we provide answers, we offer it in a variety of different channels or different ways, because everybody would like to handle a response in a different matter. So sometimes receiving an email is all you need, but other times screenshots and step-by-steps is a lot easier to follow. But then when it's a huge amount of steps, then a tutorial video works, and something that you can play back in your own time. So the operations support is moving towards a model of taking advantage of multimedia, tutorial videos, and the hub is going to be the first place where we'll post those. So as we move forward, when you raise a support ticket, don't be shocked if one of your answers will be, hey, follow this link. There is a video that will show you exactly how to resolve your query. And then we can move towards closing those customer queries at scale by using more valuable information.
Is there any other more general feedback on the hub that anyone has? We'd love to hear it. As we said, we know it is a new feature that we're trying to promote, so we would really love any feedback on it.
I don't know if all customers are aware yet, because it's hidden under the support menu, but on the hub, we also have a collection of all the release notes, because before this, all the latest release notes are on a single link that you get posted by our product team. But if you want to see historic release notes, which a lot of my customers have asked for, so they can actually put a timeline together of what the things that have come out over a year and where they've placed them and pushed them to their own students. There wasn't really an effective way of you doing that. So in the hub, if you hover over support, you'll then find release notes. That's in the menu at the top. And we collect all of those release notes. And the most recent release notes will be at the top with a new, with a font that says new. So it should be fairly easy for you to find it. And then
Rachel's just posted the link. Yeah.
Thanks.
Sorry.
I think one of the other slides coming up is regarding a feature on those release notes itself. So we're going to try and marry up the release notes with these webinars with the tutorial videos to try and concrete every available way of giving you the answer and actually proactively setting you up for greater success with using our product.
Great, thanks, Phil. Any other feedback on any of the points that we've raised, please keep them coming in the chat, as we would really love to hear them. But on that note, I'm going to move on before we run out of time. And I think, Phil, I'll hand over the mic to you for this. So
yes, this is one of the features that you might have picked up on from the release notes that were sent last week. And again, if you go in the hub, hover over support, click release notes, you'll find that the August release notes will take you to a page, and this is one of the new features. So I wanted to just cover this off here so that all customers understand completely what this change does and what it doesn't cover as well, so that you can kind of relax as well. So we, as we constantly add updates to our platform, including security updates, we've changed and upgraded the security against our MyDay managed identity store. So you may or may not be aware that MyDay has its own identity management piece inside it. Most people will use Azure Active Directory and plug that in and synchronize your users and groups against MyDay, which is definitely the scalable solution. But if you ever need to use a built-in account, so MyDay having usernames and passwords and groups managed by MyDay as a platform itself, then there is a new change in how we've made it so the passwords must follow a particular policy. So some use cases why you might do this is during the start of your onboarding, you might have had a username and password that was MyDay managed before you plugged in Azure AD. You might also use this if you start to add the recruit license, or you want to use MyDay to be a pre-enrollment portal, or a portal for users who don't yet have an Azure AD or otherwise external ID. So what are those changes? Well, before you could create any password really, and that needed to be updated. So you now must provide a password with at least one uppercase character, lowercase, one number, and at least one special character like $, ampersand, brackets, and such. So this doesn't affect your AD accounts because, of course, your password management and the policies for usernames and passwords are controlled by Microsoft at the Microsoft 365 end. This is solely if you're using MyDay managed or local accounts. To do this or to implement this, it is already active for any new users that want to sign up to MyDay. So if I'll just share my screen actually, Emma, because I can show the registration form. Let's quickly show that. Okay, is that coming through?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay. So some of you will have seen this, some of you won't. But this is what it's about. So on the first MyDay page, you can log in, or there is a registration button. So if you click on register, that allows you to self-register for MyDay, and it just puts you in an ad hoc group. So you're not in any specific group at that point, but this is where you can enter your own password, and there will be this password enforcement against it now. Any users who've already registered, there isn't yet a way of users resetting their own password, so we're working on that feature for you. But otherwise, the best way to fix that is with your the tenant administrators can go into user management and then reset the password to something stronger there. So any questions on that by customers? No? Okay, great. That's really good.
Fab. And that's the end of this webinar. Thank you all so much for joining and for your feedback, especially Julia for taking the time to present to everyone. We really appreciate that. It was really great. There was the link put in the chat for the Customer Hub release notes, and all feedback and community is all on there. So please go to there for any suggestions or help that you may need. And as always, there's our email if you want to suggest any future webinar topics. And we will see you all in September for the next webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good luck for September, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye now.
Bye.